but it failed dramatically. What is the guarantee that this time you will succeed? And what are the Russian-produced cars they can drive now? Well, back in the 90s, there were not too many cars available. Now we have those cars. Well, probably they are somewhat modest compared to Mercedes or Audi that were only being procured in the 90s in huge numbers. But I guess in this regard, we should learn from many partners of ours, namely our partners in India. They are mostly focusing on production and use of the cars and vessels produced in India. And in this regard, Prime Minister Modi is doing the right thing by encouraging people to use the brand Made in India. We have those vehicles available as well, and we should make use of it. It is absolutely adequate, and it does not violate any obligations or commitments of ours under the WTO. That is solely a matter of state procurement, and we need to put in place a certain hierarchy understanding who is to drive which type of car, and make sure that we are driving Russian-produced cars. You probably have heard that there were some proposals to continue this procurement. It's not complicated. It can be easily done. Logistics is in place. You mean the procurement of foreign-produced cars? Correct. But I said that I have strong doubt whether we should really continue those state procurements. 10 years anniversary is the anniversary One Belt, One Road that we're having this year with China. There is also a project of major Eurasian partnership, and after G20 forum, it was lately announced, and those were the countries: the United States, EU, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Israel, Jordan, and India have completed their work on a historic, as it was stated, agreement of the new economic corridor between India, Middle East, all the way to Europe. Russia is not included in this corridor. China is not included either. How do you think, how will that impact our projects and the project that we have to China? What does it mean for us? I think that will only benefit us, and it will only help us in developing logistics. First and foremost, this project has been discussed for several years by now, although the United States of America decided to jump into the project in the very last moment, although I do not really see any rationale for them to be in this project. Maybe it's purely important for them in terms of certain business interests. At the same time, the additional movement of cargo along this corridor is basically a complement to the North-South corridor project that we develop on our own. So there is nothing that could interfere with that. The North-South transportation corridor allows us to leave the Persian Gulf and India. If there will be one more route added, I think that also includes Israel, then we can go through the Black Sea all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. This is the corridor we can use. I don't know. Those colleagues who presented the project should definitely take a look at that in details, but so far it's just a memorandum of a declaration of intentions. We should look at the unit economics of the project, because at first the cargo has to be carried by rail to make sure it reaches the sea, then the cargo transshipment from the railway to the sea vessels. Then it should arrive on shore, either the shore of the United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia, and then there is yet another transshipment from the sea vessels to the railway. So this double transshipment has a particular meaning for the whole feasibility of the project, and that has to be carefully calculated. Well, we have with us the representative of the leading railway company of Russia, Russian Railways, that is Oleg Belozorov, who is nodding head right now. So apparently I'm saying the right thing if he can confirm that. The feasibility of the project is vital, so it has to be carefully calculated. Time-wise, if we compare the trip from the Northern Europe, from St. Petersburg all the way to Mumbai, well, it would be more or less comparable to our route along the north-south corridor. But again, feasibility is a separate matter. I would assume that our project and our route would be more efficient. And of course, there will remain an interest towards the use of the Suez Canal. And assuming that it would cause some damage to the transportation via Suez Canal, well, that I do not believe. And the final point I wanted to make, the scope of cargo transportation is going up, it is growing every year, and it seems to me the more routes of the kind are available, the better. Thank you very much. And now, if I may, a few words to go back to the country. We are in Vladivostok right now. This is the city where you get to see a lot of cars driven on the right side, imported from Japan. And I guess that would split the audience into two parts. Many ways say that there are no options. Some would say it's okay. Well, I guess you are very lucky, Mr. President. You are driving Auros, Niva and Volga. Well, many Russian state officials are less so lucky because you told them that they will have to start using Russian-produced cars. In the 90s, there was an attempt of the kind to be made, but it failed dramatically. What is the guarantee that this time you will succeed? And what are the Russian-produced cars they can drive now? Well, back in the 90s, there were not too many cars available. Now we have those cars. Well, probably they are somewhat